How unique is game day for you?
Yeah, it's slightly different. We drove up last night. We're here in Carson this morning. We got our walkthroughs like we normally do, but our guys are used to it. It's the third time doing it. We did it once in fall camp, and then against UNLV, and then now this week. So our guys are used to it, and it's just another day for them, and we'll get them ready just like we always do, and strap up the helmet and then get after it tonight.
Mike, I've heard it described before, offensive line play is a violent ballet, and obviously your group has been in great cohesion these first two games of the season. With as strange as the offseason was and a lot of this, having to be done over a Zoom meeting, are you impressed that they are firing off as a group like they are?
Yeah, I think we did have a little extra meeting time over the course of the summer and even the spring for that matter. But we returned a couple starters and a couple guys have stepped up, and I'm surprised in what they've picked up, because the important thing is about actually doing it, going on the field and doing it, which we didn't get an opportunity to over the summer. But we've taken advantage of every opportunity we've had out there on the field this fall camp and heading into these game weeks, and we got to continue to do that to have the success that we've had.
Offensive line coach Mike Schmidt with us on Extra 1360. He is leading the group, the offensive linemen and the running backs included, that Costa is number one in the nation. Now, FBS programs, there have been some that have played more games, but the Aztecs through two, ranking against the FBS with their 347 yards per game, is number one in the country at that 347, rush for over 400 yards against Utah State. And Mike, most importantly, because it's, those numbers are great, but most importantly, you got to score points. And you're scoring a lot of points this year. How much does your offensive line also have to do in that category?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most important statistic is are you putting enough points on the board to win? And through two games, we've done that. I think everybody in at least our offensive line room, everybody on the offensive side of the ball, we're going to never be satisfied in where we're at. I think we look at the game tape from previous weeks and we understand there's more yards out there and there's more points out there, and we want our players to think the same.
Offensive line coach, San Diego State University, Mike Schmidt with us. Proud Madison Warhawk, a true and true San Diego product. Mike, when you're grading the guys out after each practice, you're obviously grading them out after each game. Are they farther along than you thought they'd be?
They're on schedule. I think, it kind of goes back to that same point. We still have a lot to work on fundamentally. I think the reason we have had some success is because they've been coming out, they've been taking the field and playing with the right intent. You have to as an offensive lineman, but fundamentally and even communication wise, I think there's some things that we have to keep improving on in order to have the success that we've had.
Mike, I hear a lot about San Jose State offensively, the amount of yards that they're putting up and throwing for, but what about the defense? What do you see from the Spartans for tonight on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, they've had the same coordinator for a couple of years now, and we've been going up against them. The one thing that stands out this year, probably compared to last year, it looks like on tape, is the speed of the defense has improved. They're playing with a lot more confidence. They have a lot of guys returning in the front seven, and they're a little bit bigger, and they're playing a lot faster and a lot harder than they have in the previous years.
Mike, you're sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good, sir.
Okay. Sir, well, thank you very much, sir, for that.
That's a first.
It is a first and probably the last. You're obviously a proud papa, your son Braden. As a parent, you're proud of him. But when you're watching guys like Daniel Brunskill do what they're doing, getting some TV time last night, moving over and playing center for the 49ers, what does that fill you up with?
Yeah, I saw that on the bus ride up last night. He was in there at center, and he actually came into the program as an undersized center, and then we converted him to a tight end, obviously moved him back to tackle, and there's no question in my eyes that he can play any position at that level. But with the way he approaches the game, his approach, and that's what I'm trying to instill in every offensive lineman in this program, is the way he prepares himself and knows the offense and knows exactly what to do at any given position. And he was the same way here. and I know it hasn't changed since he's been up at that level.
Mike, we spoke with Greg Bell yesterday. That interview is up at sportssd.com. He was incredibly complimentary of the offensive line play, but I can also imagine how nice it is for your offensive linemen in a rushing down or in a rushing play with the talent that is carrying the ball right now for San Diego State University and the depth as well of the amount of running backs you guys have.
Yeah, there's no question that's critical. I think the one thing that's a little misleading in the rushing offense is it's an 11 player stat. You know, it takes the whole offense to be able to run the ball effectively. It was no different when we were under center running the ball, and now that we're in the gun. But it takes all 11. I mean, that is a true offensive stat, and there's no doubt there's a good cast of characters around us and everybody's involved. Carson Baker's getting active a little bit. And the receiver's doing a great job downfield too, but definitely the backfield, you know, that is a critical part to it.
Mike, before we let you go, if you could, my co-host here, Mike Costa, each time we talk about this game, he gets quieter and quieter and quieter. He just seems to get really nervous about this matchup here tonight. Can you give us some positive vibes going forward as we get set for a 6 o'clock kickoff?
Yeah, I think the approach is obviously critical, and the way we've approached the first 2 weeks of the season. If we continue that approach, you know, obviously we got to go out there and play with the same intensity and all that, and everything should go in our favor.
Mike, always appreciate the visit. Looking for another great output from that front five, your group, and another Aztec win. Thanks for coming on, especially on game day.
Thank you guys for having me.